but that jump timing isn't helpful against Atkins, who's just pressing the button as soon as possible, not trying to go for grounded combos. Cross bursts out
for the and just gets caught.
With Crackin Atkins, our Samurai Showdown champion at Winter Showdown 8 at Akihabara Arcade in Westminster and Denver.
Muita coisa, vai pro topo, isso tem projetinho, isso tem voa projétil. Tava muito longe, espelho agora vai estar ali pra pegar qualquer projétil, talvez
vai tentar setar um Happy Birthday.
Tem que tomar muito cuidado, ele fazer mais um 4B e por muito pouco.
10 seconds though, that's so much damage to make up.
What? No, and that's gonna be it. There's no way he's gonna do enough damage, and that's that.
And Crackin Atkins takes it.
O Crackin Atkins, ele não tem barra, ele não tem vida, não
mas
tem
ele
MD.
tem o povo.
Não, ele precisa de muito mais que o povo aí pra conseguir. E agora, o último recurso dele, ele precisa fazer isso valer, conseguiu o 2VC.
Liberatio.
E
conseguiu punir o shield
9 segundos relógio, eles têm que correr.
4 segundos!
Não!
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 Sim, não! Calma!
O que você tá fazendo, velho?
Ah, na verdade o timer para no hit.
Party game!
Crackin? Draw?
Quem
não,
ganhou?
Crackin! Noel!
Crackin ganhou, não.
Caralho, que partida!
Caralho!
Puta que pariu!
It's been a minute. I've been doing a lot, and I've been gone for some time. But the good news is, I want to talk about it all real soon. But for today, let's talk about Brazil. Hello and welcome to all my loyal and supportive YouTube subscribers. What's up, it's Coach Crackin. My name is Crackin Atkins, the Mr. Worldwide of anime games. And yeah, I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk about a trip that I made recently to Brazil, specifically Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I went to Brazil for a tournament called Heaven or Hell. If you recall the Brazil episode of the podcast that I did, you know about this event, but in case you haven't listened to that episode, it is a anime-centric major that's ran in Brazil. To my knowledge, it's like one of the two big ones between Heaven or Hell and Treta. But the thing about Heaven or Hell is that it is primarily centered on anime games. So every game on the lineup is an anime game, and there's like 20 freaking games on the lineup or something insane. It was quite an experience, and I just want to take a moment to kind of recap it all. And I think most importantly, spoiler alert, encourage you to go, because I highly encourage anyone, if you ever get the chance, to check out this tournament and just check out Brazil as a whole. Their scene is great. All right, so yeah, I guess the first thing that's worth addressing is, why did I go to Brazil? Why did I go to Heaven or Hell? Like, I am in Southern California, West Coast America. Why did I have to drive to go all the way to Brazil for an anime game tournament? Well, and you know, I'm looking, like I said earlier, and like I've been saying, I'm looking forward to seeing how the scene grows throughout the latter part of this pandemic, and hopefully being able to return offline is something that is part of the future for you guys going into 2022. I'm motivated. I have to come clean about something. I don't have a passport, but if there's any motivation to get one now, it would definitely be for a Heaven or Hell 2022. So yeah, part of the big reason is because, well, I said that I would. But I mean, I guess there's other driving factors of why I went to Brazil. A lot of it did tie to the Blaze Blue scene down there, specifically the BB Tag scene. I've been watching Zate's tournaments for BB Tag and BBCF from time to time for quite some time, so I'm like very familiar with like a lot of the players down there, and it's players that I thought up until recently I would never get a chance to meet or actually play games with. So it was a pretty big motivating factor. I mean, BB Tag is one of my favorite games, to just get a chance to play players that I have never played before, and it's not really feasible to play against via net play. I mean, with rollback netcode being available, you know, it's awesome, but just due to lack of stability and consistency with the PC port, and rollback can only do so much, playing with some parts of the world is just not as accessible. So yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to go to Brazil, is to meet a lot of the Blaze Blue scene, but also because I said so. But there's also just a genuine curiosity about the tournament itself. I mean, like most of the games that I do play are anime games. There's some exceptions here and there, but I'm mostly like tied to anime games. And like having a tournament of this caliber and this size, there's like 200 plus people there. I wanted to see how it was done, and especially in a completely new country. I've never been out of the country before. More on that later. But I wanted to see how Brazil kind of does things to get a feel for the vibe and the FGC down there. So there was something else that I said on that podcast. I don't have a passport. I will make sure that that's covered ahead of time before that's even announced.
The best thing is not just
Bliss.
us. If everything works right, the Argentinian people will go to heaven or hell too. So you're going to meet both of us.
All right, I was already sold. Now I'm super sold. I might work on the passport this weekend. I didn't work on the passport that weekend. I lied. In fact, I didn't work on getting my passport until February. Now, here's the thing. Heaven or Hell happened at the end of April. I want to say April 22nd. The timeline for getting a passport under normal circumstances is like 8 to 10 weeks, 7 to 11 weeks from the time that they receive your application. So realistically, it's more so like 9 to 13 weeks, because it could take a couple of weeks for them to actually receive your application, and the processing time is 7 to 11 weeks. That doesn't fit the time frame. Even if it was like as soon as possible, I wouldn't be able to have my passport in time. So I went for an expedited application, which had it in a sense of it was a 5 to 7 week process time from the time that they received the application. So basically I cut it super close, because it's estimated that it takes like a week or two for them to actually receive the application. 5 to 7 weeks. If it took 9 weeks, I would be getting the passport basically either the week before the tournament, or the week of the tournament, or the week after the tournament. 2 of those situations are okay. 1 of those situations suck. Luckily, and I don't know how this happened, I got the passport in 2 weeks, like 2.5 weeks. It took 18 days. It was estimated to take at least 5 weeks of processing time, and I got it in 2 weeks. A blessing from somewhere. I did not question it, but yeah, I didn't have to deal with that despite my horrible procrastination. So yeah, with the passport out of the way, really it just came down to getting to Brazil. And so that comes down to the basics of hotel, flight, and money, because they don't use dollars there. So hotel, I was very fortunate to have an amazing roommate and an amazing friend in Noah. Alter Noah was who I roomed with, and they pretty much like handled everything when it came to the reservation. I didn't have to deal with anything on that. I just PayPal'd them and it was cool. I wouldn't have known what to do. Shout out to Noah. Flight was also, I mean, not super difficult to book. It was just like booking any other flight. Also, just with modernization of technology, even like getting my passport cleared and like doing all that stuff with COVID requirements and such, with my vaccination, I could do it all through the mobile app. I flew United. The flight was expensive, but I really wanted to go, so it's fine. Now, last but not least was money. I knew that, like, you know, they have a different currency in Brazil. They don't use dollars. And I asked a couple of people ahead of time, like, how I could pay for things. And, like, some of the general consensus was that, like, physical money isn't really used very often. They were like, I mean, you can bring cash in case for, like, an emergency, but, like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. More on that later. But, yeah, I did end up bringing some Brazilian currency down there. I want to say about like around $400 ish of their currency, just in case. So I left on Wednesday, April 20th, and I got back on Monday, April 25th. Let's talk about how that went. So I had, well, flying from California to Brazil is actually a ridiculous amount of flight time, because you can't get a direct flight from California to Brazil. So basically, in order to get to Brazil, I had to fly somewhere else first and then fly to Brazil. For going there, I had to fly to Chicago first and then to Brazil. For coming back, I had to fly to Texas first and then to California. Combined, it was over 30 hours of flight time, approximately 15 hours there, approximately 15 hours back. The LAX experience was LAX, nothing really too notable. The Chicago airport experience was also nothing really too crazy. Really, the biggest thing that was out of the ordinary for me, and when it really started to set in, is when I was getting on the actual plane from Chicago to Brazil. First off, like, I've only really taken like national flights to, like, you know, Florida being the furthest state. And typically the plane is just like an ordinary plane. Like there's 2 rows, there's like the middle aisle, and like that's about it. But this plane was huge. It was just like, of course, like 3 rows with like 2 aisles down the side and like all these lights and everything. I felt like I was getting in a spaceship. So yeah, it was just like this super huge plane, and like I'm boarding and I'm hearing everyone talking all these different languages, and I'm just like, what am I doing? The real moment where it started to hit me was when there's like this big screen that's available for like public viewing and everything, and before we took off they had basically a map showing like where we were and where I was going. And so like I'm looking at Brazil on the map and I was like, this is really far from home. Like but the flight experience itself was pretty nice. It was like very comfy. I was served 2 meals on the flight. So like the meal going was really funny because like they come around on the like little carousel thing or whatever it's called, and so like they get to you, and the question that they asked me was like pasta or chicken, and I'm just like, can I know what type of pasta? Can I know what it's such a vague question of like pasta or chicken. It ended up being like a teriyaki chicken and like a ravioli, but like 1, I would have liked both, and then like 2, it was such a mix-up. I was just like, it could be any type of pasta, it could be any type of chicken. The worst thing about the flight going down there, and this is a fully personal thing, I was not able to sleep. It definitely wasn't, I don't think it was a factor of the seats being not comfortable enough or just not having a sleeping environment, because I was able to sleep on the way back in the exact same type of seat, but on the way there, I think I was just too hyped up that I couldn't actually get any rest on the flight, which means when I arrived, I'd been awake for over 30 hours. Eventually though, I did arrive to GRU International Airport. Now, one thing about this video and just one thing about my life is, unfortunately, I did not take a lot of pictures, and I do not take a lot of pictures, so I don't have any photos of me in the actual airport, which is a shame because I wish I got a video recording of my experience through GRU International Airport Customs. Luckily, I think I was able to find some footage that is going to be a pretty close representation. Dude, I kid you not, like you get off the flight and then first of all you do a ton of walking. I just got off of like a 15-hour flight of mostly sitting, getting up to go to the bathroom once or twice. You do a lot of freaking walking, and then you, first of all, I should say the GRU airport is very, very nice, very fancy airport. But yeah, you eventually get to your baggage claim, you get your baggage, and then you do even more walking. Except rather than going through nice hallways and corridors and windows and such, you go like through the what feels almost like a funnel of a hallway that eventually lets you out into what looks like a shopping mall. Like it is just all these different stores, Bath and Body Works, Sephora, like all these different stores and brands, to where you don't even feel like you're in an airport anymore. Like in a typical airport, of course, there's like stores and like foods and restaurants like all around and everything. That's a very normal thing. But I'm telling you, like the setup of the post-customs shopping environment that they had there was literally made to look like a mall. And it almost feels like it was intentionally not trying to look like it was at an airport. Finding the exit was really hard. It's just like you walk through all these different stores and just like there's this tiny sign that says like, by the way, the exit's over here. But like as you're walking through, all the clerks are like walking up to you and asking you to try stuff. And so my theory is that it is a tourist trap. They're trying to get you to like spend time and a lot of money in there right after you've gotten off of this flight and you're excited to be in Brazil. And I would imagine that everything there is super expensive and overpriced. But you know, eventually you get off the flight, you get your luggage, you survive customs, you don't spend all your money in one place, and it's time to get to wherever destination you need to go. For me, it was my hotel. Luckily, Uber does work in Brazil the same way that it works in the United States, so I was able to just load up the Uber app and kind of go from there. I want to give you a quick pop quiz. You see this person outside of the GRU airport. Do you take a ride? The correct answer is no. You don't take a ride. These are, I mean, there was like 10 of them kind of like lined up right next to the Uber pickup spot, because there is a designated pickup spot for Uber. And these are scammers of some sort that have like a private taxi service that is definitely not Uber, and they'll take you to where you need to go. But from people that I've talked to, they will charge you a ridiculous amount of money afterwards. So don't fall for the scam. If you see someone holding an Uber sign, don't go. Just go to the Uber pickup spot, call an Uber, look for the license plate, get in that car and only that car, and be on your way. And don't be tempted by fate either. There's literally no temptation. Ubers are extremely cheap. I think it was like $5 in American dollars for like a 20-mile ride or something. So they're very, very cheap. So eventually I get to the hotel. There's one problem. I'm gonna use vague timelines here because I don't remember the exact times, but let's say I got to the hotel at like 11 a.m. Check-in wasn't until 2 p.m. So I essentially had about 3 or so hours to kill before I could check in and get into the hotel room with 30 hours of no sleep, and I had to lug around my luggage wherever I was gonna go. I wasn't feeling adventurous, and I kind of had a role with myself that I wasn't gonna explore the city alone, but luckily the venue was open, so I got to go to the venue. Now the Heaven or Hell venue is like super sick. I mean, it's basically in like a hotel convention center, and there's just like setups everywhere of like anime games everywhere and all these people playing. It was just like a wonderland seeing it. So I just walked straight in. Little did I know, you know, silly tournament participant, I gotta check in, dude. So like I got like hit by someone who was like, yo, come back. Or I think they said come back. I don't know what they said. They were speaking Portuguese. And so like I came back, and then he's like talking to me. I'm immediately like faced with my first gringo moment because I don't know a lick of Portuguese. I know some Spanish, of course I know English, I don't know any Portuguese. So I'm like trying to reply in English and say that like I don't understand, and like they're replying back to me saying something, and eventually someone that was in line to check in or something, they were just like behind this check-in counter, they like come over and they're like, wait, you're Crackin Atkins? And I'm just like, yeah. And so eventually he ended up helping me out a ton. He was just like explaining to the guys like, oh, this is the dude that's coming from America. And then so the person that was checking me in immediately snapped. He was just like, oh, my bad, I assumed that you were Brazilian, my apologies. And he was like, yeah, I'm just asking for your proof of vaccination. And I'm like, oh, easy, here you go. And so like I was able to check in, I got my wristband, and I was good to go. This type of interaction happened a lot, but it was like my first time realizing that a lot of the Brazilian FGC, if not all of the Brazilian FGC, knows English. I had like no trouble in the venue at all whatsoever the entire weekend I was there. So everybody knows English. Yeah, that wasn't an issue at all. But some people would just start out with Portuguese with me. I don't know if I look Brazilian. I have no idea. So yeah, I was just kind of like walking around the venue, checking stuff out. Every game is here. Like there was just like, I saw Arcana Heart. There was like Guilty Gear, all of them, Pulsar, Strive, Exerd. You got CF games going on. You got Grow, I think I saw was being played there. There's Third Strike. There's people playing Nitro Plus. Like it's just like literally, you name an anime game, like it's there. Third Strike isn't an anime game, but that's there too. Not to mention that there was random stuff there, like controllers I've never seen before in my life. Someone had a whole ass sound Voltec setup there, like lots of random stuff there too. But yeah, I had time to kill, not only to be able to check into my room, but I was also waiting for Myth, who wasn't at the venue yet, but was going to be helping me check into my room. So I met up with the BB Tag people. Just a lot of people, just meeting them for the first time. Maya was there, Chip was there, I was able to meet Zate, Crocs was there, Synth was there. It's like pretty much anyone, or like a lot of people that were signed up for the BB Tag tournament there were already there. They were already playing like BB Tag casuals. So like getting to meet everybody was super cool. Really made the moment even like more crazy, and like how is this happening? And naturally I ended up playing a lot of games. I had to run the BB Tag Brazil Kumite. I got on the setup and like I didn't get off. I played everyone like back to back to back to back to back, which was really intense because I was very tired, but it was very fun. Eventually enough time passes and I was able to meet Myth, Chompy, and a few others, and I was able to you know, check into my hotel room. Shout out to the Myth. I would not have been able to get into my hotel room without him. But yeah, let's talk about that hotel room, shall we? The hotel room was pretty nice, spacious. Didn't really have any complaints. Like there's like 3 twin-sized beds. I haven't slept in that size of bed in a minute, but I was so tired the entire weekend it made no difference to me. That's like the closet space that was back there. There was a couple of hangers. I ended up just living out of my suitcase. Some chairs there, the TV, and that little port over there. You see that little port over there? Let's explore what that little port over there is real quick. You see that is power, something that I was not going to be able to get with the power adapters that I was bringing from the United States. Yes, it turns out that Brazil has different power supply unit stuff, and my stuff from the United States didn't work, which was almost a crisis. I brought like some of my electronics as far as like my Nintendo Switch and like my Chromecast and a couple of things that I like plan to hook up that I couldn't, but that stuff didn't really matter. What mostly matters is that my phone was dying and I did have a portable charger, but I did not have like a way to charge my phone. I was also the only one in the hotel room for the first night. Noah was getting there the next day, so I had to figure out a way to charge my phone. Now this TV over here did have a USB port. I did try to charge my phone through the USB port. I left it on there for like an hour and it actually lost percentage, so I don't think it was a very good power supply. But yeah, this was the view that we had from the room. It was a lot of buildings, not really, you know, too much there to take in. I thought this was the view, like everyone's view. It turns out no, I was in someone else's room and I was looking at their view and I was like, why could I have had this view? Like the view that I have is like really not exciting. Okay, one thing I definitely want to go over is the bathroom. So like immediately there's like I think around 3 things here that I want to point out. One, the toilet in relation to the shower. Maybe there's like other pictures that I can get to show a better angle. There's not a lot of room there, so for standing it's okay, but I have to say for sitting down it was quite the struggle for me. I'm around 6'2", and it was a tight fit sitting down there, tighter than I'm used to. It was uncomfortable. Another thing that's worth noting are these faucets on the wall. I had noticed that immediately because I was just like, why are there faucets on the wall if there's no shower there? You'll notice that there's like a little hose next to the toilet. I didn't ask about this, but pretty sure it's a bidet, but like a spray bidet. The only thing that makes sense to me. It would also explain why there's a drain there, I think. I don't know. I have questions about that drain. There were like some gnats coming out of that drain too. It was kind of funky. Not like alarmingly funky, but they were there. But yeah, this was the bathroom. There's one other thing I want to go over as it pertains to the bathroom. So like typically in United States hotels or just showers in general, we usually have 3 towels. Hold on. So we typically have a dry off towel, you know, like the big towel that you use to like dry off after you get out of the shower or bath or whatever. We have a hand towel that honestly is kind of useless, but you like use to dry your hands with if you're not a savage, I guess. And then you have the face towel or like a washcloth. This is what you take a shower with. This wasn't there. there were no like face like washcloths or like face towels. It was only these and these. So I was like, what the hell am I supposed to shower with? I asked Noah about it when he got there. I was just like, do you guys shower with towels? And he was like, yeah, of course we shower with towels. And I'm just like, well, where's the towel that you shower with? And like, he was just like, it's just the towel. And I'm just like, I'm so confused. I still don't understand the towel situation. But yeah, my first night there was eventful to say the least. So like I checked into my room, right? Before checking into my room, I was talking to people about like how to get food. Apparently a very common thing that they do is just get delivery and have it delivered to the venue, and then you just get whatever you want basically. And so they were like, yeah, Uber Eats works, or you can use iFood, which is like a native app that they have there to where you can order food around the area. It's just basically another food delivery type of service. It seemed like it has a lot more options though. So I already had Uber on my phone. I downloaded iFood, and yeah, the plan was I was going to get some food, try to stay up so that I can adjust to Brazil time because they're 4 hours ahead, and maybe go to bed at like 10 p.m. because I was starving. Remember, it was a 15-hour flight that I had. They gave us dinner on the flight when I got on the flight to Brazil, which itself was like a 10-hour flight, but I hadn't had any food before that. So basically I was going on multiple hours, potentially a day without eating. So I was just like, cool, let's order some food, chill out, and then go from there. Hopefully don't take a nap. I go on Uber and like I try to load up Uber Eats and it won't do it. It keeps trying to, no matter what I do to try to pull up Uber Eats, it just takes me to Uber, the app, and it's like, oh, you want a ride? Yes. And I'm just like, no, Uber, I want you to deliver food. And it's like, oh, you want delivery groceries? Yes. And I'm just like, no, deliver me food. So then I tried using iFood. I had picked out like this really, like, I don't even remember what it was. Spoiler alert, I didn't get it, but like I picked out like an order and everything. I was gonna put it in, and turns out that you need a Brazilian phone number in order to use iFood. So I couldn't order any food. And so like I'm struggling with these apps for like an hour, and I am just like starving. I'm sleep deprived. I look like a wild person. I don't look like somebody that's on vacation. I end up getting a hold of Zayt, and bless Zayt's heart, Zayt was able to order me some food. And basically for the rest of the weekend, I was just coordinating with everybody as it pertained to like food ordering and such, because holy crap, I nearly died on the first night. Yeah, it was a nice dinner. I didn't take any pictures, but it was like a Brazilian steak with some potatoes, beans, I think rice, and some other stuff. It was very tasty. So tasty that, you know, I am in a room. It's kind of getting dark now. I am sleep deprived. I just had a delicious meal. I don't have any electronics I can use to try to keep me awake, because if I do, I'm going to be draining the battery on them. Yeah, I went to sleep, or at least I thought I was going to go to sleep. I took like a 1-hour nap, and then for some reason, like 8 p.m. hits, and I hear this really loud maneuvering. It's not from like my room, but it's like from the room across from me. It's just like some really loud maneuvering. I'm hearing like a vacuum. I'm hearing like all this crap. And like I look out of the peephole, and it's a maid doing maid service on the room like across from me, but like in the loudest way possible. And she's like also on the phone, like yelling. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like, why are you on the phone yelling? Why are you doing maid service right now? It's 8 freaking p.m. Like, what is going on? I like tried to power through it and sleep through it, but it was just far too loud. So like I checked my phone. I actually had a missed message from Maya inviting me to play Persona, so I ended up playing Persona that night, and then eventually I came back later and the maid was gone. But like, I don't know what that maid was doing there to this day, and nobody knows. That's not a common practice. They do like maid stuff in the morning time. I Thursday was something. But yeah, I guess on the topic of food, I had like a lot of different types of foods while I was there. The hotel, which is pictured there, that's where I was staying and where the venue was, had a free breakfast for people that were staying there. So you just wake up on time and you're able to have like a free breakfast buffet. The breakfast was really good and really filling each and every day. They had a multitude assortment of bread, maybe like a rye bread, a sourdough, but like also like dessert breads, so like maybe like a banana bread or things like that. There were quiches. Something that took me off guard was that they just have straight up desserts. Like there's like a dulce de leche cake and just like other different types of cakes and pastries, but like not pastries aren't too uncommon in the United States to have for like a breakfast, like a muffin or something. But like these are just like flat out just like cakes. Like I'm like looking at cakes and it was just like, I can't have this first thing in the morning. This is something I like have like after dinner. It's just like, no, this is breakfast here, deal with it. And the thing that I liked the most was the different assortment of juices. So like there was like a whole bunch of different types of juices, and they aren't already sweetened. They were like unsweetened, and then like you add your own sugar to like make it sweet. But like I don't like super sweet stuff, so I would just drink a lot of that stuff plain. It was delicious. There was one weird thing about the breakfast, and I talked with Noah about it because I thought it was a Brazil thing. So like they had scrambled eggs, and mind you, the scrambled eggs were great. I had them every single morning. You know, they have like a serving tray, right, of like things that need to be kept warm, and in the scrambled eggs tray, the scrambled eggs were on top like a sheet of white bread. I don't know why. And like I was looking at people dip out the eggs. People would dip out the eggs, but they wouldn't touch the bread. Like no one was actually getting bread out of like the thing. They were only getting the eggs. I'm just like, why is there white bread there? What is this? It's like I asked Noah about it. I was like, hey, what's the deal with y'all and your eggs? Like, why is there white bread there? And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know. Like, that's not like a thing that we do here. It is just like something that this hotel does, I guess. I have no idea. It was like, that was kind of odd. But yeah, breakfast was delicious. There was a whole bunch of other things that I had while I was down there. Calabresa, a multitude of capacities is something I had down there. It's kind of like a lunch meat, very similar to like pepperoni, a little bit of a different flavor. Very good. I had a couple of calabresa pizzas while I was down there. Ironically, like a lot of people have asked, what's the best thing that you ate in Brazil? Like this will come as a bit of a surprise, but it was literally a burger. Like it was this burger that Maya ordered from some place, I don't know, but like it had so much freaking cheese and the meat was so good. I was like, I couldn't tell if the burger was actually as good as I was imagining or if I was just super hungry, but like legit that was one of the best burgers. Like I don't know what made it so good. And then of course there was only like, besides the juices that I had for breakfast, outside of breakfast there were only 2 beverages that I had while I was in Brazil: water and guarana. Yeah, guarana is like the closest thing I can compare to it in the States is like a Manzanita Sol. It's like kind of similar. It reminds me of like an apple soda, but I think guarana is way better. I'm not even like a soda drinking type of person, but I had multiple cups of that stuff. Wish I could have brought some back. So yeah, I mean, I guess just getting back on track about like talking about the event itself, there's just like not enough nice things I could say about Heaven or Hell. There's just like so many players and like so many games, as I've said before. Like literally on the Friday, it was like Friday night after I had finished Melty, I spent like 6 hours in the venue just playing casuals, like back to back to back for like everything. It was like for BB Tag, it was for Strive, it was for I played some Grand Blue as well, like on Friday. It was just like everyone was just like super hungry for games. And so talking to a couple of people, it seemed like it was just a combination of like one, this being like the first offline event for Brazil in quite some time, and 2, this was apparently the biggest Heaven or Hell they've ever had in terms of just like participant numbers. So the scene definitely grew throughout the pandemic, and so I think just like that combination of energy that was like in the venue, it was so infectious and super fun. Like everyone was really hungry to play. But yeah, as far as my personal performance, I did okay. I played like Melty, Grand Blue, Strive, BBCF, and BB Tag, and my best performance was in BB Tag where I got 5th. Everything else was kind of whatever. I think I got some 9th places and then some 17th places as well. Maybe in the future for another video, I could do a breakdown of like stylistic differences that I noticed across games, because there are definitely some playstyle differences that I noticed in BB Tag, and definitely Strive. Strive was actually really weird. Like I just from the matches that I played and some of the matches that I watched, I felt like there was a very burst safe and burst bait heavy style of Strive that was just kind of not what I was traditionally used to, but was definitely fun to kind of like play around in like casuals and tournament. I also fought Testament for the first time there in a casual set. I can't remember the name of the player that I played. It was like a brief set, but watching them play, it kind of stuck with me, and I play Testament now, so that's a fun fact. BB Tag was like the best though, because like again, it was just like playing all of these people that I had been watching for so long, and like my path was like not easy. There was just like but like to just kind of briefly touch on like ideologies I had for at least BB Tag, because it's just like the main reason why I was there. I only planned to play 2 teams. I was going to play Hilda Batista and Yumi 9 until I thought Myth, and I realized that like I dislike fighting Heart Aino, and so like I ended up bringing back Mitsuru specifically to fight Myth, but it also ended up being useful against other people because it like seems like there's not a lot of Mitsuru presence down there. But yeah, the BB Tag bracket brought a lot of that out of me, and it was just like super fun. Or at least the BB Tag bracket was super fun when we finally got to play it. BB Tag was on Saturday, and it was like after Dragon Ball, and it had been some time since I had had this phenomenon before, but this is a phenomenon that you're all familiar with of Dragon Ball fighters at an offline tournament. It takes a long freaking time. I think that BB Tag ran like 2 hours behind schedule. They actually ended up starting it early and having a lot of matches that were previously off stream, but then Dad from Argentina was able to save the day, and there was like a BB Tag Argentina side stream where a lot of the pulls matches are at. But anyways, like Dragon Ball Fighters, I watched a bit of it naturally because there's nothing else to do in the venue at the time while we were waiting for BB Tag. And you know, to keep it frank, I actually watch a little bit of US Dragon Ball Fighters from time to time. I'm not super attached to it, but I like bums tournaments, and so I have an idea of what's going on with the meta right now. Is the freaking lab coat meta, man. So I was just like, I wonder if lab coat meta is something that's happening in Brazil. So funny story, I have a clip right here. This was like when I started watching Dragon Ball Fighters. Like I got off the BB Tag casual, and I turned around and looked at the stream, and I was just like, I'm gonna start watching Dragon Ball Fighters. And this is essentially what happened. I look at the screen and I see like Bardock and Ginyu and Super Saiyan Vegeta and Zamasu, and like I turn to Chip and I'm just like, yo, Brazil Dragon Ball looks super sick. Like what are these characters that everyone's using? Like this is unheard of. I'm like, nobody, like besides Gotenks and like questionably Kefla, like nobody uses any of the characters that are on screen right now. And so like this actually had me fully invested and had my attention. I'm just like, yo, let's go. And it turns out it was a button check. So yeah, they check their buttons, they go back to character select, and they both select fusions and lab coat. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But yeah, I don't want to drag this out too much longer. You know, I had a fantastic trip to Brazil, was able to get back home safely. The customs and like whatever experience getting back home was perfectly fine. And it was also cool because I found out that the GRU airport accepts American debit. So I was able to get some nice stuff from the gift store, including the shirt. Yeah, I think like the thing I want to lead off with is like every interaction that I had with like people at the Heaven or Hell venue was just like such a positive one. Like I said, there's like no negative interactions at all. Everyone was just so hungry, and it was just like such a positive atmosphere, and just like there's also like some fun nature in it with me being like I was the only American person at the event. I think I was pretty much like the only person there that wasn't from South America to some extent. So there was a lot of back and forth, all in good fun of competition that was going on as well, that I just thought was like super cool. And yeah, everyone was just like extremely nice, like the very welcoming community. I never really felt like a foreigner there, with the couple exceptions, like some gringo moments that happened to me. But like honestly, especially like all the time that I spent in the venue was just like so fun. It was one of the greatest tournament experiences I've ever had, honestly. Like finding casuals and like having an abundance of casual stations at a tournament is actually something that is not very common. I think it's something that's going to become more of a norm with the way that EVO is being structured this year and some of the adjustments the tournaments are trying to make nowadays. But you know, you don't usually go to a tournament with the expectation of being able to play consistent casuals. You go to a tournament with the expectation to compete, and casuals are just something that you have to be lucky enough to stumble upon or go to somebody's hotel room or something. So I loved that about the event. I loved the energy of the event. I loved everybody that I interacted with, and I want to go again. Like I think I plan to go next year. I can't really see a reason why not. I want to keep attending because I think Heaven or Hell is a super awesome event. The organization of it was fantastic, of course with the exception of the Dragon Ball stuff. It's Dragon Ball, dude. That's gonna happen at literally every event of Dragon Ball just running long. But the organization of everything was like just clear, perfect, like to the T. I was able to understand everything perfectly as somebody that's like not from the country, and it was just really great. I definitely give massive thanks to anyone that helped me out over the weekend. I guess most specifically a shout out to like the Brazilian BB Tag community. They really kind of took care of me the entire weekend and just kind of looking out for me, and also just being like really cool people that I wish I had more time to spend with in my limited time there. But we'll make up for lost time the next time that I'm down there, because I do plan to come back. And I guess that what that ends with is just like, should you go to Heaven or Hell? Should you go to to Brazil? And like my answer is definitely yes. I mean, I guess it's more so my answer is you should go to heaven or hell. Brazil, like what I experienced of it was cool, but I didn't get to experience as much of it as I would like. But yeah, if you just like anime games and like you want to go to something that is like the combo breaker of anime games but in a different country, like this is it. Like this is just a complete celebration of all different types of anime fighting games, and I haven't really had a tournament experience like it before. You know, obviously it's a pretty expensive run, and so I wouldn't go to this tournament expecting to like turn a profit or whatever. You go there for like the experience, and you know, you go there for like a vacation or whatever, and so it's just like something that I want to do again for sure. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions for me related to like literally anything, if you have any questions about heaven or hell or anything about Brazil, if you have questions about travel restrictions and how like the COVID-19 traveling internationally experience was for me, that was videos that I was looking at all day about like traveling to Brazil to try to learn more things that had like, you know, nothing to do with any of my interests, but just somebody that was like in Brazil in a recent time frame to learn more about how you travel to Brazil. Feel free to leave me a comment, or you could tweet at me, however you want to get in contact with me. Subscribe. I have some more content coming soon. Okay, very soon. And yeah, that's about all that I have for now. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a good one.